There you go. Okay, I will call the meeting to order at 6 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Statement of public notice, agenda was posted on the internet and at the town hall window. Roll call, who's not here tonight? Matt?
I think
Everybody's,
on the town board, fire,
okay,
Anton is Parks and
Plan.
yeah,
Plan, and those two are our two citizens. Janet. Huh? And Janet, he's here instead of Janet. One of them has to be here. Okay.
oh,
Matt Moore's not on the committee anymore. He's just attending the
Yeah.
table.
yeah,
And you, Anton, these are our two new members. To the left is Debbie, the right is Deb. Good luck with this. I don't mind. You can put numbers on it. Say W8, W.
yeah. So you represent what committee?
Oh, they're the independent.
Oh, okay. Oh, very independent? Oh, okay. All right. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, so roll call. Everybody's here except Janet and so I'll take a motion to adopt the agenda as posted.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Public comment and opportunity to address the finance committee on subjects not on the agenda. Anybody want to speak to that? I guess hearing none, we'll move on to the regular agenda. So items for the committee discussion and action will be review of 2023 budget.
Yes. We are halfway through the year. Some things are over, some things are under. Some things are close, some things are not as close. So the first part of it is income, and income is strange because at the top of it, it shows our levy, but then we have payments that come to us for the districts and everybody, and we pay those out. So it's really not money that belongs to us, but it shows you that our budgeted levy is 2,063,729. And in those numbers, it eventually rocks out at the end, because when you go to the second page, right above expenses, total income, you can see we're about $1 million short yet, $1.5 million short on our income, because we have another tax payment. When is it? November or August? August, we have another tax payment coming.
Yep.
So that will level that out. There's fees in there, and there's some things that are ins and outs. So if you, and I'm saying this for your benefit because you're new. So if you come into the town and you pay an occupancy deposit to get your occupancy on your new home, we hold that in a separate account in that binder, and we give it back to you when you get your occupancy. So some years our occupancy numbers are way higher than what the budget is, but other years it's lower than the budget. We just put place cards in there, both for the income and the expense side. So there's things like that that are ins and outs. And that's just part of it. That's how we do it. And when you get into the fall budgeting, you'll see a budget worksheet that's got colors on it that is actually a spreadsheet. And we color them all pink that are the ins and outs. So you know those numbers really don't mean anything. It's an in and an out, whatever it ends up being. So some years we get more occupancy than others, and they're not done with the house. This year we probably paid out more than we took in because we had a lot of houses. We had 39 permits last year, so they're finishing up this year. So that's kind of the income side. I kind of pay more of attention to the expense side, because income to us is based on taxes And we know what we're gonna get. So that doesn't change a lot. I go back to the expense side and go, okay, what are we spending money on? And where is it going and how much is gonna happen to it? All of these categories on here are set by the state and done by our auditors, so they are sure that our monies are in the right places they need to go to. And if you look on page 4, halfway down under 53390 is winter. We've already spent 256 this year in winter. We only budgeted, we spent 256, we have budgeted 238. We're gonna be short there, but when you come up to the very top of it, which is 53310, that is our bid out project, which is seal coat crack sealing. We are about 60 grand under budget, I think. Bob, isn't that right? About 60. So
Yeah.
that'll kind of level that out. How we always look at it every year is if we go into summer with overspending on snow, that's where we take it from.
Yeah.
So we know we've got a cushion there. If we come into summer and we have a lot of money left in snow plowing, we can add it to crack seal seal coat. We only pay for October and November winter bills in this year. December goes into January of next year. So we never budget for that one. We don't have to worry about that. So kind of, that's the one that's over this year that we know we're over, and it's just what it is. You can't, you know, you can play with Mother Nature, but she's gonna let you know which way this is gonna go in the end. So that's where we're at on that. So if you have any questions,
So
Feel free.
just so they know, so Smith's, there's our one contractor that has from County Road B to the eastern side of the town. And Tuma has from V plus a few roads on this side. So, but each contract, Smiths get upfront money for
and so
November.
does Tuma, yeah.
And Tuma, so one, Smith gets 6 grand and Tuma gets 3. So that's, starts in November.
Yeah.
Right?
So we're under contract with them, so we give them a retainer, so to speak.
Yeah.
We also have costs on there from the county, which is part of Scott Road, which is between the town of Hudson and the town of St. Joe. They plow for Hudson, so they do our portion. And Golden Oaks, those 2 roads, they do our portion also. And then that's all our salt sand mix comes into county. You have to turn that on.
Can you tell me, Teresa, which account was, so if it goes over for the winter for those, which
It's on-
account is it coming out of then?
It's page 4.
Yep.
About halfway down where my thumb is, 53390. So you look at there's salt sand, there's county, that's their plowing, there's Tuma, his plowing, and then there's Schmitz and Sons, their plowing.
No, I meant what account do you take that when you go over, if there's an overage for the winter
Oh, At the
already?
very top,
Okay.
bid outs.
Oh, okay, got it.
Now, that's what you see all the trucks out here for. Allied is just starting that project.
Okay.
So we will get a bill from them, probably not this board meeting Thursday. We'll get a bill from them next board meeting to pay their bill.
But out of that 300,000 budgeted, some of that will go towards the,
So the state only requires that we balance through to, if you go down here where it says 53000 Public Works PW,
yes. Uh-huh.
that account across the board has to balance or have more money left over. The
Got it.
state does not require us to line item our way through it. So you only have those big, anytime you see these totals, those are the totals that have to balance.
Okay.
And if
that's
we
helpful
don't-
to know, yes, okay.
If we don't, then we do what's called line item transfers. So we may take money from one place and put it over to the other because we went over in a thing. And last year we had to do line item transfers because we used some of our ARPA funding to pay for the rest of the AV system and for the fire department bonuses. But we didn't have it in the budget. So legally, we have to do a line item that says we're bringing that money in. And now here's where we took it out.
Okay.
So
thank you.
those line item transfers we tried to get done in November. So we can balance our way out. Sometimes we don't get them done till January.
Thank you for explaining that. That
Yeah.
gives
So
it
you don't
great.
have to worry about every single one, but Bob's from Public Works. It helps him to see this and say, okay, we're over here or we're under there. And like our trees are over this year under five, I gotta look here, 53680. We're over on that because of the storms. So there's 27,000 there that we're over. So, you know, I should say 47,000 over there. So all those
Yeah.
monies, we may not be able to balance Public Works this year and we may have to line item money out of somewhere else. The worst case scenario is that we do a transfer from our general fund savings to balance it. All the state requires is that we balance in the end on the major totals. So you can take this home and mull this over and call Terry or myself to ask if you have any questions on it.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When when the officials get paid,
Yes,
are you just paid a set amount a month or for every meeting that you need to attend or?
they were paid salaries, so we get
Okay,
paid
salary.
1/12 of our salary each month,
Okay.
both for myself and them.
Mhm.
And the same for Terry. Terry's under a salary. The deputy clerk and clerks and the treasurers in the offices are paid hourly.
Okay.
So they pay by what they work,
Mhm.
as our election workers, as our fire personnel are paid by calls. The chief is paid a salary, but the rest of them are paid by calls and hours.
Okay.
Did I say that right? Yeah, calls and hours.
And
But the rest of us are all paid 1/12. And
committee members are paid by the meeting.
by the meeting. Yeah, the plan commission members are paid by the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
So if they don't show, they don't get their big $20. Because that's what Anton's in it for, is the 20, or he gets more, it's 100 a month, you know?
Yep.
Anything else from you ladies? Yeah. Okay,
But I think it's a valid one to bring up at this point.
oh, are you gonna give it to her? I was gonna call it over.
Does our assessor has had one payment? Does our assessor have another payment coming, or are we good? Are we?
I think that's the one and only, isn't it?
Yeah,
Once a
he's
year.
51532.
1532. Yeah, that's his one and only 30. Well, he's billed is 26, but he's gonna get 39, so we must owe him some more.
Well, that's where that was,
Yes, because we pay him the rest in the fall when he gets the.
because I was gonna say,
yeah.
I think there's a
After
contract.
open book. Because we already did that, so he gets paid one more.
All right, so that was an easy one, right?
Yep.
Okay. I think town hall building repair might be worth noting that we are over and it's only our best guess when we're trying to figure out what potential repairs. I don't remember what we spent. the
We
13.
fixed the end of the fire hall and that came under the town hall repairs.
Yes, and that was
Yeah.
unexpected.
Yeah, yeah.
But it needed to be taken care
Yeah.
of. And then the same way with the fire hall building, is that part of the
That
same
was
thing?
all
It was-
those, the board had approved all those fans and enclosures.
That
And
should
what
have
else?
been,
Oh, it
that
was
should
the drops.
have been last year.
Was that last year that we approved them, but didn't we pay them this year?
Yeah, yes.
Right. We approved them
year.
last year, but the trucks stay plugged in, so we had new electrical drops. And all of our fans, unfortunately, in the room, as Zach may want to tell you, did not have cages around them, which was a little frightening if you were on top of one of the trucks.
That's what I said, because that's an obvious overreach. That would be kind of random. I think another one worth going over, Teresa, is item 52400, building inspection, which is a pass-through by my observation, which would be offset by 44301.
Yeah, so those are in
So
and
maybe
out.
would wanna,
So in other words, the building inspector collects fees to do your inspection on your new building, whatever that is. You pay those, that's income to the town, and then we turn around and pay him for his inspections. So it's an in and out. We just put a placeholder in there and hope for the best.
I may have other ones for you, but I'll just call you if I
Okay.
do.
All right,
Are trees? on our trees, is there any possibility there's any storm mitigation money out there?
No, there's not. Town of Hudson tried and I tried and the answer's no.
All right, I was hopeful, but,
Yeah.
all right, that's all my questions. Thank you.
Yeah,
I've got one question on the fire department paying benefits. It looks like we're well over 50%.
So
yeah.
already paid 3 of the 5, and I just factored it in, you're probably going to be, if we go at the rate we are right now, we're gonna go maybe at 1,000.
Okay,
Yeah, because we roughly each payroll about 17.5. And we paid 3 of those already.
mhm,
And we have,
okay,
so we have roughly 30. In payment. Part of that was that we had an issue with retirement, and we had to give everybody a retirement.
catch up.
Catch up this year, and that wasn't.
Okay.
So
But now we're past that.
we are, yeah.
And Zach's got a full handle on that one.
So Teresa, the other one that was always an oddball, in my opinion, what to figure out, and when you looked at the budget overall, is number 566.99 on the refund road deposits.
Yeah. So what that is they pay a road deposit just like they pay a occupancy, and they get it back if they didn't damage the road.
And what that references to are when people are doing subdivision and they're going to have a town road when the subdivision is all finished and turned over to the town. That's where this comes into play. If they give us money up front in the
No.
event that
No,
that's
this-
not where that's coming from?
no, this money is money that you pay when you pull a building permit, no matter where you are. You pay, is it right, Terry, 2,005 and also 500. So 500 is occupancy, 2,000 is road damage deposit. So
So,
if you bring your gravel or your concrete trucks in here and you break off the edge of the road, we pull from that deposit.
See, I told you it confuses me. So explain.
So it has nothing to do with subdivisions. It's everything to
So-
do with individual building permits.
So tell them where the subdivision.
So the
road deposit-
subdivision-
The road, subdivision road money and how that,
The
It's-
road, well, it's called plat fees,
yeah,
and the plat fees go in and out,
and they can be large.
and they can be, but we're taking that in as it's over on the income side, and they pay it over here. On these reimbursables, they pay, and if they don't pay, we take it out of their credit. So they give us a letter of credit and also a $10,000 deposit. But those come over on the other side too. I gotta find it.
Oh, here it is. How about 56301 is the total?
5, 6.
CSM reimbursable.
Right, those are the reimbursables, and on the other side, it's on the first page at the bottom, 44400, 1, 10 and 20. Those are not the deposits, because the deposits are held separately. See, we don't show the 10,000 as income on our income side, because we're just holding that money.
So do we mix those together in this account 11117?
How about,
Is that both like the plat and the road and
Where is
occupancy?
1117?
yeah,
In the bank accounts?
and then
Oh, in the bank accounts.
yeah.
So we've got the
So
occupancy and
you
road accounts.
have-
I'm just curious if the plat
That's
fees
it.
are
Is that-
also in that account.
is
So
that 44901 category you're talking about? With the road. and occupancy?
1117 is occupancy and roads. That is mixed.
Okay,
And she has a running spreadsheet that she's watching on that. The development,
Yeah, and then
where
on,
did the $10,000 go? In which of these accounts? Do you know?
how about 44902?
No, I'm talking about in the bank accounts. Where does the $10,000 go?
Oh, yes.
yes.
Oh, that was a bad sound.
Good.
Good. Yeah, the development guarantees are there, that 244909. You're right.
Yeah.
But I don't know what account they go into here. Do they just go in the general fund? General fund, and you just leave them there. And we run a spreadsheet. We run a tally in QuickBooks that tracks it.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait till you get into budget and we're all going, hmm. Okay. Yeah,
Gee.
all right, Bob.
So, we done with that? Move on to the review all bank accounts since April 11th, 23. That's the big book over
That's the
there.
big book that has all the bank account
So-
registers in them. If you're done with those, you can pass them to Anton. It has in there the reconciliations from the clerk's office. So I just said to her today, we have some checks that have not been cashed. We need to find out why they're not being cashed from the first of the year. So there's a couple of paychecks. Companion animal control. Oh, companion animal control. So hasn't cashed a check. So she'll have Michelle call this week and find out where, because we kind of have to keep on top of those. So we get them cashed out in the year that we paid them. It's always helpful. Doesn't have to be, but it's nice to get them done. Huh? They're this year. They're this year. We already reconciled everything out of last year. So these are this year, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So we just got a couple of paychecks.
Pretty fast.
And then she's given you this sheet. This shows you what our balances are in our bank accounts. So some of these bank accounts are things that you can use and some of them are things you can't use. So you have a checking account, you have the general fund, which is like a savings account. We have an impact fee facilities that's sitting there with a penny in it, which we just leave that penny in there in case we want to use it again. We have parks, we have roads, we have a new 2021 loan that's sitting there with money in it. We have occupancy and road deposits. Major road projects are also loan monies that are sitting there. And then the LGIP, we have the state and county payments goes, all our state, federal, county payments go into LGIP. So if it goes in there, then we have to pull it back out. ARPA funds are sitting there. And then the TD Ameritrade Mellon, that's the rest of our loan money. So we're on the last year of our major road project. We borrowed $6 million to do it. We had $1 million in the bank. So we are spending $1.1 million about maybe this year on Church Street.
150,000. Wow.
Million what?
Wow. Total was 7,150,000 for the
Right.
whole thing.
But this
we-
year is $1.1 million.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were about, if I remember right, we were about $20,000 short on the monies we had in the bank. And the board decided to go for 15,000. I think it was go forth anyway and finish the whole project and not take something off of it because in the future, we'd never get it built for what we're paying now. You know, the bigger the project, the less cost per square foot is. So we decided we'd take the money if we had to out of the general fund, but we're making money on interest. So we might be able to make it up before the end of the year and come out okay. And it all depends on, they bid us, but you know, maybe they don't use as many quantities and maybe we end up with a little extra. So we will
Yeah.
see. But
So-
that is dedicated to roads.
So just for your information, the 7, I use it at 7,150,000. That incorporated with the money we had besides. So at 6 million. So we've, since 2020, we've rehabbed, which we mill off the road and re-blacktop it. We've reconstructed and we've also, so we've done, when we get done with the Holton project, we'll have 30 roads and avenues done in this town. And we still have more out there for the next go around
In
Yeah.
7 years,
in 7 years.
7 years,
Yeah.
well, 6 years, 6 years
6
now.
years.
Because it gets paid off in, let me look here, I'll tell you right away. It gets paid off in 29.
29, yeah.
29. So in this state, if you take out a loan for road, for anything, it affects your levy on the backside. In other words, it's not taken out of operating, you add it to your operating expense levy. If you pay off the loan, the year you pay off the loan, you have to take out another loan because your levy stays level then. If you pay off the loan this year and you don't take it out till next year, in 24, everybody's taxes will go down, and in 25, they will all go back up. And people don't like that. So we always try to do this. So our road projects have been going on 10-year cycles. So we took this money out in 19, pay off in 29. The fire department, we've put them now on an 8-year cycle on trucks. So every year, every 8 years, we'll replace a truck. Hopefully we'll get this one sometime soon, but every eight years. So we'll have 3 big rigs that will replace every 8 years.
Yep.
The pickup trucks we can afford to buy in between. It's these big, this one cost us 8 something. The next one's gonna cost us $1 million. Yes.
What do you do with roads that are borders? Like my road, Somerset's across from us.
It
So-
depends on what section you're on as to our agreement with Somerset.
Okay,
What we've done with Somerset, and instead of going to the center line, they do a section, we do a section. They do a section, we do a section.
and same thing with the plowing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
It's interesting because our road gets plowed by 3 different townships. And St. Joseph does the best job of the 3.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, Richmond does the worst.
Good. Okay.
I've just got one question on the bank accounts. Who's Wade's Mobile or Wade's
Who's what?
Mobile? Wade's Mobile?
Wade's Mobile is the entity that brings in the trailer houses in the mobile home park. So he has to pay that because he has to get inspected by the building inspector to get them set on their foundations.
Mhm.
So that's he gets his occupancy and road stuff back.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
And he's the only one I think that does it, isn't it? Isn't he the only one, pretty much? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, it seems weird when you see that, it's like, what is this? Yeah.
So,
Not sure.
Terry, would you like to run and get them each a copy of the audit? Because I bet they don't have that.
sure.
Was like mobile phone or mobile tree service or.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's him. He's bringing those things in and out. And he does, I have to say, we have never had a complaint about him from anybody who has used him.
Good.
He does a really good job.
So just to update you on what our last loan cost is interest wise, 1.93%. The one before that was 2.4, I believe.
Well, this one's this is 2.0 on this one. The one before was like very close to that, 2.13, I think, when we
Yeah.
got done with it.
Yeah.
But the note on the old fire truck in the town hall was only 1.77.
Yeah.
So this stapled package you have on the second page is your loans that are in existence right now. So the first loan on there that's paid off in 12/1 of 26 is what the town borrowed to buy a fire truck and to fix this roof on this whole building. So that's paid off in 26. We don't plan on renewing that loan. We plan on not having to renew that. The next loan was taken out in 2019, and that is for roads. The third one was taken out in November of 21 for the new fire truck. We're paying on it. We're not going to get it till next year, but we paid for it in advance because it saves us a ton of money. I want to say $60,000 or $80,000 we've saved on that to pay in advance.
Yep.
So it's a significant amount. I know I saw your email that it got pushed back again. Part of it is the supply chain. When we ordered this at the height of the supply chain issues, they're just having problems getting it done. So that gives you our indebtedness. We have the ability that our indebtedness could be somewhere, I think it's around $40 million. We're not even close to that. But I can assure you, you can't get these roads built any way possible without going into debt. We have towns around us that have tried to pay as you go, and they're getting further and further and further behind. Because first of all, if you do a half-mile road a year or a mile road a year, your cost estimate on that is so high because they have to bring all this equipment out here to do 1 mile. In 20 and 21,
Yeah.
we actually split it up because we had so many roads. We split it into 2 years because we had no one that would have bid it out in one. So we bid out the first year, did them all, came back the second year, bid them again, and did all the second bunch of roads. So this would be our third road loan that we've taken out. And it's the only way to get ahead. I have spoke to other towns about this. I speak to them all the time about what are you trying to do here? Because you can't get ahead. And now they're feeling the crunch because their roads are starting to deteriorate and they can't figure out how to get ahead because they're looking at $25 million in road costs. And how are you going to do that? Because that's easily a $2.5 million to $3 million payment a year in 10 years. So they're trying to bite off what they can and they can't get ahead of the game. And I say, start biting the bullet, start out with 4 million, then go to 7 million, then go to 10 million and get ahead of that game. But it's hard to convince them that that's the way to go because they don't want to increase people's taxes, which I get, but people hate it when their roads are full of potholes. Yeah,
Wasn't our 2019 road loan the one we hit the sweet spot in that we bought that loan at extremely low
Yeah.
rate of interest? We invested it until
made-
we needed it.
Yep.
We made money on that and then the Holton project came, or the roads we did came in under budget.
yep,
And the Holton one ended up that it was coming in under and we did more than we planned and we
Yeah.
still had money left over. So that's why this is stretched out. And it was about the timing of that, it was documented as 2019, but we really didn't start spending or planning, doing
We
the
didn't start
actual, we
spending
didn't
it
do
till
any
20.
actual spending until 2020.
Yeah.
And then we had some we were gonna spend in 21 and that didn't happen.
no, we did 21, we didn't spend it in 22.
Okay, I knew there were, I
Yeah,
knew we had a gap.
because
in
what
there.
happened was we found out that we could get money for the Holton project in grant because we're cleaning up the flooding issue. And as we drop down to the river, we could get grant money for that whole bluff area, which we got a big chunk of money for that.
Yeah.
So we waited a year to get that money and then go to bid and get it done this year. We were gonna go in 22, but then our engineer said, listen, I think you can get this money. You have a really good chance at this. And it was like, what, 400 some thousand?
Yeah, it was,
I mean, a good chunk of change and we went after it. Did I say that right? Is it that much? Maybe it's
No,
135.
yeah.
You're right.
because it.
You're right, 135,
uh,
but it's still a chunk of change. It's 2% of the project.
It was initially, Lee said that it would be about 35,000, but then it ended up being 135,000, so. Which,
Because we had to rebuild the whole bluff coming down and rock it and do all this restoration to control the water going into the river. Holton. Church Street. So Church Street's getting rebuilt with storm sewer in it because they all get flooded out there all the time. And then we did all the streets off of it.
If you were to use the shortcut going down the Stillwater Bridge and you looked on the left,
That's where it's,
that's where this big ravine came in. And there was a little ditch on your left, a little old rock wall. That's where this big ravine was draining into and going down. to
Yeah.
the St. River.
yeah,
And that's what that.
yeah, because they just don't let you direct the water, even though that's where it's already going.
Yeah.
They're not a fan of that.
so basically back in the day where the ravine is in the Holton plan, that was the street that was supposed to go to Steep Hill.
Oh, geez.
What?
The steep hill
Egard Street
was gonna go down that ravine.
was supposed to, and we vacated that back in the
I didn't know that,
90
Bob.
night, well, yes, the historian. Yeah,
Can you imagine? You need a doggone winch to get yourself up there in the winter time.
so,
Oh, geez.
yeah, so Egart, Egart was, it was actually Egart Street if we would have went down there, but we vacated that back like in 95 or 97, something like that. So, otherwise you'd be looking at, you'd never be able to plow it in winter time. It was bad enough going down a steep hill on.
For
So-
sure.
So anyhow, I throw a little history once in a while.
There you go.
Yeah. So, yeah, all right, where are we at here?
The audit.
Okay,
You ladies can take that audit home and look at it. The board, the committee got it last time and I had her put it back on here just because you had not seen it.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions, the board has already accepted it. So if you have any questions, feel free, down the road, it gives you a chance to see what we go through. Because we have a combined clerk treasurer position, we're required by state law to audit every year.
Were there any major issues that you just
Mm-mm.
discussed? It was, everything seemed.
Pretty straightforward, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, we changed auditors this year and we were very happy with how it went.
thank you.
We don't want to see any problems.
I know that.
so update on that 10-year plan?
I think Matt said he'll have it ready for our next meeting, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So. Financing for the town hall addition.
So the board has not agreed to this yet, but I wanted to bring it before this committee. The board is considering addition to this building. 40 feet that direction. Couple of things that will come along with it, just so you're aware, is that we are sitting here with a steel sewage tank out here. And that needs to be replaced. We already know it has to be replaced. We've already been put on notice that it's a problem. Because you all have concrete. You don't have this steel tank in the ground that I don't even know if it's if it can get pulled out and be held together anymore. Who knows? Anyway, it has to get replaced, but that's not what precipitated this. What precipitated this is our offices are small and this room is small for what we are required to do for elections. Elections are starting to drive what is happening in these municipalities. And in this case, when you see all the ADA requirements for elections, you'll understand that this room is not big enough for what has to be done. You have to have X number of feet for aisles. You have to have 6 feet around all ADA voting areas with screening, with the ability that no one can look over their shoulder, all of these things. That entrance is not ADA. This one over here in the double doors is. That's why if you come to vote, you know we come in there because that's an ADA entrance. The other thing we looked at that precipitated this was space in this office. And if after the meeting, if you want to take a look around, you sure can. It is at a premium. There is no more space to go into anywhere. So the board is looking at this and we have Stantec, our engineering firm, coming to our meeting Thursday night to give us a preliminary idea about what this could look like and what the cost would be. I put a very general cost at the top of this. I know it's going to be in that ballpark somewhere, but we haven't fleshed out the numbers yet. But I wanted this committee to be aware that we have ARPA funds of approximately, I said 375, but now I should look and see. 379, so I was close. I had a guess the other night when I did this. So it has to be allocated to a project that is started no later than December of 24 and completed by 26. So that's the last of our ARPA funds. Our joint library funds that we have left the joint library as of the end of this year under the new, is it AB 125, I think is the number, I can't remember, that just got passed in the legislature. We do not have to allocate that 92,000 to the city. We can keep it.
Yep.
Brand new. We're all like, the municipalities are all like, anyway. So if you take that 92,000 that's not been earmarked for anything else, that's 92,000. In addition, the state under this bill and this governor did sign off on it. They will take 1 or 2 cents of sales tax and allocate it to towns and counties, which will up our increase of state aids this year for $102,469. We've not allocated that anywhere yet either, but I'm just showing that as monies that are available for this project, if so be. That gives us those funds at 569,470. Do I think the board is going to approve all those to be used to that? I have no idea. But attached to this is the Eller's presentation to us. And he came in and just said, say that it was an $800,000 project. Here's what your impact is. We didn't have a number when he came in. We just said, here's the number. So that's this colored stuff behind as you keep flipping through. So we obviously don't need to borrow that kind of money. We might be able to borrow somewhere around the 300,000 or less number, depending on what the board decides, because it will be entirely to the board to figure that out. So I'm putting that forward to you all so that you understand where these monies are sitting. The board has not determined for sure that they're going forward. That will be a decision for tomorrow night. And how the project works is, if we determine we're going to go forward, then we would instruct the engineer to move forward with planning on it. That planning may involve a whole bunch of things. One of them has to be that septic tank. One of them has to be, we want to be ADA compliant at the entrance. One of it is we want bulletproof glass there, but it doesn't have to be glass. It can be plexiglass, which is a lot cheaper. We need more storage. We need to have place for all the election equipment. The IT guy would like to move everything out of the server room that's sitting in the fire department here, which is where most of it's being used in this room. So there's a lot of things to be changed, and then it would allow us to reconfigure this for elections and allow us to get rid of this screen with this projector and drop TVs down in here so we could see them much more clearly, as could the audience. Or I shouldn't say the audience, but I guess it is an audience that watches us. So there's a lot of things involved in that. So he will start doing it if the board approves. He will start doing that, and he will come back in with questions, and we might have just a special meeting just to, grind through that. And then we would be looking at approvals in November so that we could go to bid in January or February and get started next year and get it completed.
Some of those things are going to have to be done regardless of whether they approve an addition. I mean, the
Well-
ADA compliance, the septic,
And you
Right.
have no space to do that.
oh, okay. Okay.
Unless you're going to add on, you have no space. So originally the board started out with, I think, 20 feet. And then we looked at 25 feet, and then the board said, wait, let's just do 40 feet. Let's just do 40. So what 40 would mean is this building, this room would encompass that office and another approximately 12 or 15 feet. Then the office would be 25 feet wide and the length. This kitchen would stay. That office would stay. Then you'd have a storeroom, then you'd have an IT room, then you'd have a single restroom, and then you would have the bigger vault. Because the vault is at the max. We have no place to put this. We're at a max. These cabinets in here are full. Those two are full, and everything in there is pretty much full. She keeps coming to me and going, can I throw this away? Can I throw this away? So now we've started trying to purge some of this to get what we can, but we purged so much that we're kind of down to the point of there's not a lot to purge. And some things you're required to keep either forever, or for instance, all the mitigation, which she is well aware of, all the mitigation monies that we received from the federal government for this bridge. Under law, we have to keep them for 7 years, no matter what. That box is a paper box packed. And we can't go anywhere after the last dollar in report was made. It's 7 years counting from then, not 7 years when you got it. It's 7 years from the end of it. And it's like the ARPA funds.
So that's
when
like
you-
2030.
Yeah, it's like ARPA funds. You can spend them on whatever, but on the last day that you file the last report in whatever July of whatever year that is, then the 7 years starts counting. So all that stuff is different than businesses, and you can't put it on microfiche or anything like, you have got to keep the actual piece of paper.
Yep. Yep.
And it's a lot to track, but if you do it correctly, it's not hard because it just keeps stacking up in those drawers. We're under our own zoning, so anything we do under zoning has to be kept forever. Building permits have to be kept forever. Driveway permits have to be kept forever. Subdivisions, once they're filed, that files at the county, but all the paperwork going up to them has to be kept forever. There's a lot of forevers in there, plus all the election stuff. Oh my gosh.
Minutes from previous meetings
Yeah,
back
all the minutes are forever.
whenever.
So if you get a chance, feel free to go through there and take a look.
I've seen it inside. It looked pretty great.
That's all right. If you want to go on the big ladder, you can see forever behind that little gray door up there too.
Oh, no, I pulled all that down.
Oh, did you?
That's on the other side of the kitchen,
That's on the
in
other
those
side.
drawers. She and I started to go through those and talk to the Historical Society about that, because we started to, but still, we're not emptying them. There is still a lot of stuff we have to keep. You know, like managed forest land, you have to keep those records.
Does it have to be kept on site here?
Yes.
Okay.
And you can pay to put it somewhere else, but it has to be locked, secured, climate controlled. I work at the town of Hudson as a deputy clerk. They had stuff off-site. It was costing them money monthly. And they finally built themselves a secure facility to put that stuff in and a huge vault. Because they said, we're done paying all this. We've got to get this back. Plus, every time you needed something, guess what you're doing? Scurrying over there to get it.
Yep.
Yeah. So I put this forth to the committee just to get your reaction to this and what you think should or should not be done here with these monies. Obviously, the ARPA funds have to be used towards this. And I should back up and say, we had an ARPA committee who identified needs. One of the things that's not on here is the generator, which I'm waiting to get a price on that. Because we should have a generator that runs this building because we have a fire department and that will more than. No, Chris Marshall's in charge of that, but I'm looking at you through the fire department. Okay. Chris is in charge of that, and that'll take part of those ARPA funds to do that, because we can use that for that. When the ARPA committee identified needs, they identified paying for the AV equipment and getting that done with. They identified giving the fire department bonuses for their work during COVID. They identified the generator and they identified this building and they identified broadband.
Yeah.
Now that Northwest is going to come in here and plow the rest of it in for the town, that's kind of off the table. So now we're looking at this. What does everybody think?
I have before you get into the think part, I just want a clarification. Joint library funds, 92,000.
Yeah,
Does that come into the budget and stay in the budget, or is it a 1-year thing?
no, it stays in the budget forever under that bill that was just passed.
And the state aid increase?
Forever. Next year will be about 105,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, every year it will increase.
And do we have a written notice on the septic? And when did we receive that?
I don't know. I have to check. I
I
have
think
to check.
you just threw it out there. That's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say. Where is that notice? And
Yeah.
This is the first of hearing about that.
Oh, no, Chris said it at one of our meetings a while back, that is a failing system.
Oh, but I wouldn't consider that to be notice from the county.
Oh, I'll have to check. Because the county has not been real good about sending out notices. I don't know if you've noticed. When's the last time you got one?
I got it.
Last
Oh.
week.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Good.
but it was 4 months late.
Oh,
I mean,
Yeah.
we should have had it back in January.
I'll check. I'll
Yeah,
check.
that's what I was gonna say.
Okay.
I'd like to see that
Yep.
notice.
So that's where we're at and that's where,
So the reoccurring one, that between the 92 and the library funds and the state aids, because it's just in our budget, that could end up any place in our budget.
that's
for
what I said.
our
The board
use
hasn't
every year.
allocated it.
Yep.
But I stated that if you're gonna, it's gonna be up to the board to decide how much.
No, you're saying
Yeah.
that this potentially that these two items for 1 year could go against
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
project. Yeah, I understand that part. I just want to know if it was a one-shot deal or not.
No, it's every year. And so you could put it towards the project next year and then take it the third year in 24 and use that same money to pay against the loan. And you get the loan paid off in a couple of years. I mean, that's one way of looking at it.
Yeah, that'd be up to the board, you know.
It would be up
future
to the
boards.
board, but I mean, there's ways to structure that is I guess what I'm trying to say without running another 10-year loan. That's
Right.
not what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of trying to make it as short, as sweet as possible.
Yeah.
What about the ARPA funding minus generator? What are we doing?
Well, the generator, I think, didn't Chris say less than 20?
Oh, really? I was thinking, I'm not-
Well, we get
What?
four is 25.
Well, it could be 25.
No, that-
Something closer to 30, so.
Could be 30. We could
that's where
find
I was,
30.
that's where
Yeah.
I'm with Anton. I was
Okay.
thinking,
Well, we can say 30. I mean, that's fine. I can put that down here so I don't forget.
I actually was thinking over 30, but 30 is a win for tonight.
Well, our good thing is we have all the setup for it. We just have to get it. It's not like you have to pay to run everything that it's already set up in the building. The concrete pad is there to put it on. We just have to buy it and hook it on.
Do we have the electrical equipment for,
It's all set up over there to do it.
with the safety cutover and stuff?
I believe so. I think it's all on
I
there.
haven't done it yet, but I would, the next thing I was wondering, is there any change that has happened that adding on to it, or we just leave it all on that same location?
The generator,
Everything there.
right, because the generator is working off of your panels, not here.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what's over here because all the
You
panels,
keep everything
all the
there.
panels are gonna stay over
Keep
there.
it.
Yes. Yes.
My only question was the generator needs to be configured for more space. I don't know.
Size up.
Sized up, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and Chris can check on that. Because if you run this place on a generator, you're not gonna have to be able to run it all the way, you know, you can downsize it to run. It just depends on what you want to run with it. The
Yeah.
biggest thing is the well. That's your biggest thing, is well and lights. Yeah.
All the trucks. yeah.
Right. But those chargers don't pull that much, not like the well does. The well's what's gonna pull the most juice.
Yeah.
Cause I mean, I can run my my big fifth wheel off 1,000 kilowatt generator with no problem, but not the air conditioner. I can run everything else, every single thing in there can run out. No, it can't run the air conditioner. It can run everything else, no matter what the day is. Mhm. Oh, yeah. It just can't run the AC.
AC.
AC, you need a bigger generator.
Just some thoughts on the town hall edition. To me, there seems like there's a lot of necessary things that have to happen. For the ADA compliance, the failing septic, the generator, required record keeping, the voting and the integrity of voting machines, storage, the voting space. To me, a lot of these things are that have to be done.
Yes,
Yes, you'd like to expand offices, but I don't think that's going to be a huge part of that expenditure. That's also involved with storage and moving IT. To me, some of these things are bulletproof glass is necessary for safety. I think some of these are necessities for the town hall edition.
right. We're getting forced into that. I said before, elections is forcing this envelope.
Yeah.
Because elections is driving so much of what is happening in these municipal buildings. And it is shocking because they come in and they measure everything. They come in with those little iPad measurements and they're measuring every table, how high, how wide, how much can I turn a wheelchair around, every single thing.
Well, and I'm just thinking to do this piecemeal versus
Right.
do it right from the start may be more beneficial financially, you know.
If you're gonna bite off the thing and do the addition, then you might as well do the addition right. And that's one thing when the board talked about this and we talked about 20 feet or 25 feet. the board was like, what are we messing around for? If we go, and the engineer did some projections on population. And he said 20, 25 feet might get you 15, maybe 20 at the most years. 40 is gonna get us 30, 35 years. So it makes sense, if you're gonna spend the money on building an exterior wall, why don't you go and build the exterior wall?
Yeah.
Because everything else still has to be done. And I'll be quite honest with you, the plan, the preliminary plan that he came up with a few sheets for us. It's amazing how fast that space gets ate up in that. It's amazing. And the other thing, you have to realize, we have these voting booths in here. We have to have temporaries also in here because it's based on number of voters and we don't have enough on the wall. So now we're coming with temporaries, and that's going to continue. Some municipalities are doing them on tables. We right now have the full sets, but we may be forced into the tables where you have 2 on this table, 2 on every single table going also, because you're forced into that by how many voters you have. And they're checking because of all the election oversight that is coming from both parties.
So we're looking at 10 to, this was what, 2 years ago? When they projected we'd double in population. So we're looking at, almost 10,000 people.
Yeah.
So, so what we have to look forward to all that stuff. Back in, we had a generator back in Y2K, if you guys remember all that.
Yeah.
And we.
I don't know, is that
wired
old enough
and
to
we had
remember
it-
Y2K?
we had a generator. And we had a farmer that says, I'll provide the tractor. Well, then we bought a tractor, so we had that. Somebody stole the generator. Never got replaced. It was a power generator off a power PTO. But it
Yeah.
never got replaced. So we've been sitting here for all these years with no generator to back us up. And in order for the fire department to function, these trucks have to have air capacity. What you're all, every truck is, big truck is hooked to air capacity, right?
Yeah, it's hooked up to air for the brakes, but it's also hooked up to the regular plug because the trucks naturally draw electricity.
Yeah.
All the stuff that's on the trucks are drawing power at all times. You can't leave them either outside like so that if we go anywhere, we have to like leave front. And then bring it back to the station, you plug them right in. I think where we've got to plug one in and it's dead and taken because the stuff that's naturally drawn is going to be bad. So we had a bit of a scare on April 1st, because April 1st is the day of stuff. We had a bit of a scare, we were without power for 6-7 hours and I kept checking on the truck.
Yeah.
We just didn't have any access to it. Luckily, we didn't need them until the end of the day, I believe. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that you don't worry about too much until it actually happens.
So. Anyhow.
Any
Okay.
other comments on this? Go ahead, Anton, I know you got something.
Well, I just think like this is something that really should have been done like 5 or 10 years ago,
Yeah.
probably. And I don't see any point in spending all of the money to build something that we're just going to need to add on to again in the foreseeable future. So if 40 feet is what the board thinks is the right number, that's great. My gut feeling is that that's probably at the low end of like what we should be considering.
I agree.
Well, and that can be changed at the board level. It's up to them to change it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah,
But I think we're in good financial position to be able to invest in the building.
that, I feel that too. I think You know, we built that shed, which we needed desperately because we lost our ability to store things at the county. We bought the tractor, which may or may not be the best investment we made.
Yeah.
Because it's broke down right now. We invested in our playground, which we needed desperately. That playground equipment was in horrific shape. And so we've done some really good things here as a town. Plus, we invested in the fire department. We built that addition 13 years ago, I think it is, or 12 years
Yep.
ago, which they were desperate need. They were jammed in there, and this has given them, yeah, this has given them flexibility that they did not have before. They were just jammed. And now at least you can walk around the trucks, where before you could shimmy around the trucks. So they definitely needed that, and that was the right thing to do at that time over on that side. So I think this is the right thing to do now. But, you know, it'll be up to the board to decide with the engineer, and if we have to schedule a special meeting to hammer it out, we will. But I kind of wanted to feel from the finance committee if this is a direction to go or not, and to use some of these monies to finance it rather than spending alone on the whole thing, which we would absolutely use the ARPA funds, but I'm talking about the rest of it, is to try to allocate some of these funds to that direction.
Well, basically, back in the day, when Marie Smith was still here, and she needed more room in an office. And guess what? We got the fire department, but not the office. People wouldn't go for the office
Yeah.
expansion at that time. So that set us back probably 20 years.
Yeah,
And
yeah, because that was 13 years ago. We tried to do both and the people would not approve, so we got that end done, because that was really the greatest need.
Yeah.
But now this is the need. This has gotten between elections and no space. And these women who work in this office get along great and they're wonderful together, but they're on top of each other. It is close quarters.
Yeah.
When one person is in, and Zach can tell it, and so can Lori and I, and Bob, when we're in there, it's like you're taking up the whole room because there's only so much left over.
so I'm in there talking to Michelle today, and Terry's walking by me 3 times. I have to back up. She goes, excuse me. So, it's pretty
Good
cramped.
thing you're friends.
Yeah.
Speaking of being on top of each other,
Yes.
we should probably figure out a way of using the space above the office more efficiently than we are today.
Well, the board talked about stepping it down over the office rather than above over the office, but that's a good idea. They talked about making this addition the same height all the way to the edge of it and then dropping down over the office, but we could build it higher and use that for storage too.
Well, that would be, I mean, cost efficient to have the
Yeah.
storage space above.
The biggest problem with going up is to get stuff in and out of there,
Yeah,
because you can't stand all the way up in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
so,
But I know the board talked about making the building the same height for this section of it and then dropping it down over the offices. So it didn't look so some did, so it didn't look quite so massive.
Sure.
But we'll talk about that. Yeah,
Mhm.
but that costs more to build the building to put a second floor on it. This one you can't put a second floor on. Yeah. Yeah. So it's something to discuss,
okay.
but thanks for the input, everybody. I appreciate it.
All right, items for the next finance committee. I think we should,
When's the next meeting? Do you know, Terry? Because usually we have it before budget, so it'll have to be October.
you know.
Oh, jeez.
Second,
Where is my calendar?
Like October 10th or so, maybe.
See.
17th.
Or 18th. Well, 17th is the middle of the month.
17th is Tuesday.
17th is a Tuesday, right?
Do we want it the 17th or would we want it on the 10th?
We don't have to have it before the board meeting. It has to be before the budget hearing.
Okay.
Yeah,
Or do you want it before the board meeting in case you want to weigh in on this loan and stuff? We should be. So you guys want to do it earlier and do it on the 10th, and then at least if you have something to say to the board, they can hear it then?
yeah, let's do it. Let's do it that way.
Huh? Works. Terry, there's nothing on the 10th for that? No, because Public Works is the second and Plan Commission. And Public Works is the third and Plan Commission is the fourth, right?
I can just double check.
Oh, go, yeah, go peek at that. How about you ladies? Does that work Tuesday, the 10th? Because we've given you all this homework to go home with.
Nothing on the web calendar for the 10th or the.
Yeah, she's
17th.
gonna check the hard copy one in there that they track things on. We're okay? All right.
Good. Okay,
Then I think we'll put on there the build, you know, if we're going to go forward with the building addition, that'll be on, and we'll know long before that if we are. And the loan and the budget hearing. Lots to talk about. The budget hearing is usually the second or third. So it'll be the 14th or the 20th. It must be the 14th. 14th of November.
14th of November.
Yep,
That gives enough.
yeah, because, yep,
Yeah,
because the 7th is considered an election day if there has to be an election, so you can't schedule it then. Yeah. And we're not to August yet, so anything can happen. I know. Yep,
yeah.
but if there's no election, they can have it on the 7th.
Be nice to,
Because if there's no election, because that's only an election if it's a special. There is no regular election yet this year. But it's blocked on the calendar in case an entity needs to have
oh, yeah,
something done. That's their election day.
it can be,
But it can be Public Works. You'll know by mid-August whether anybody's gonna
yeah,
use it.
so we'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, yep. That was for 7, yep.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Thank you, ladies. I hope I didn't talk too much.
Is there a second?
I should say that to Bob.
Oh, geez, okay.
Bob, I hope I didn't talk too much.
No, you're fine. We need to get through that, so